Hello and welcome to the Intuitive Heart Healer podcast. My name is Valeri McLaughlin and I am your host, intuitive heart healer, energy artist, and spiritual guide. I hold space with love to help you to connect to your heart center so that you can connect greater to spirit and live a life full of love, joy, and happiness as you are guided by your intuition and higher self, helping you to heal and let go along the way so that you can ascend and become more enlightened. Looking for something different and exciting to do with your friends and loved ones this holiday season that doesn't involve gathering in person? Do you want to connect with loved ones in the universe and on Earth? Do you want to have fun while receiving guidance in your life? Book your group online intuitive heart session today for you and 7 other people. In these 2 hours, we will come together to heal, connect to loved ones who pass, and guides to bring messages to help you along your journey. Each person will receive a mini reading as well as a short energy clearing to help you move forward and bring even more joy, happiness, and love into your life. To learn more about the Holiday Intuitive Heart Session, go to intuitivehearthealer.com or email Valeri at intuitivehearthealer@gmail.com. I look forward to seeing all you on this wonderful holiday season. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this week's podcast. Took a week off to kind of just be with myself and experience whatever experiences were coming up and just allowing myself to be. And one of the things that I want to talk to you about today is meditation, because my experience this last week or so with my meditations have been really just sitting in the stillness. And so I want to talk about that today, is being in the stillness, sitting in the stillness, just allowing the meditation to happen, and talk a little bit about different ways to meditate, because there's so many different ways to meditate. Every time I meditate, it could possibly look different. There are times where I want quiet meditations with absolutely no music on whatsoever and just allow the backgrounds to fade away. And then there's times where I want to have guided meditations or have music on during meditations. There's times where I lay down during meditations, times that I sit up during meditations, and then there are times where I'm active during my meditations, whether it's a meditative walk or doing activity like cooking or drawing, where I just allow myself to be in the meditation, be in the moment, and just allow whatever information and guidance to come through. And I believe I talked about this in a previous episode, so I'm not going to go in the details of all the different types of meditation. Just know that your meditations don't always have to look the same. And my meditations don't have to look like your meditations. And that when we go into this meditation state, we all experience it differently. There's no one better than another. There's no one that has a greater experience than your experience, because your experience is what your experience needs to be for you at this moment. So whatever your experience is during your meditation, that is the one for you. Sometimes when we go into meditations, we go into group meditations and people start talking, they're like, I seen this green emerald light come down over me And then I saw this beautiful white horse riding up, and you're sitting there going, I didn't see anything. I didn't see light. I didn't see shapes. I didn't see a horse. That's okay. Because we all have different senses, and our senses activate differently. And you don't have to see. You could just know that you're in this field. You could feel the vibration of this color green, or just know that you're surrounding green. You actually don't have to see it. Or you can have experience where, like I have this week in my meditations, where there is absolutely nothingness. No feeling, no knowing, no hearing. And the only thing that I see is black, darkness. Because there was different shades of darkness, and at sometimes I felt like I was moving through this darkness, like headed to a totally different galaxy far, far away. Kind of sound like I'm quoting Star Wars here, but that's kind of the feeling that I had, where in Star Wars, where you see the way that the words are coming to you, that's kind of how the different shades of darkness were coming to me, and I felt like I was moving through it to a different space, a different universe. I don't want to call it dimension because it didn't feel dimensional, but it did feel universal. So I felt like I was being transported to a different universe, almost like I was going back to my home, going back to the galaxy that my star seed is at. But most of the time, it was this nothingness. And my body, I was laying down, and my body was very, very heavy. So it wasn't like I could move or I wanted to move. It was very still. And I was allowing myself to be in the stillness. Don't get me wrong, sometimes it was a little frustrating. Not so much when I was in it, but when I came out of it. Because when I was in it, there wasn't much for me to do but just to be in it and just allow it to happen. And the only thing that I felt at the time was sometimes this energetic feeling, like a vibration in certain areas, like my third eye area, or pressure at the top of my head. It was mostly around those areas, but I couldn't move, and I would be in it. And the frustrating part of it sometimes came when I got out of it, because when I got out of it, it was like almost like, what just happened? I know I was receiving, but I don't know what I was receiving, because there was a whole lot of nothingness and darkness. And that's where I had to really begin to trust that this process was allowing me to be in the space that I needed to be. And then I was having a conversation with my friend Cindy on our Facebook Live Magical Tea Talk 2 that we do live on Facebook, and we put it onto a podcast for everybody to listen to also. One of the things I was talking about during this podcast is the infinity sign. And partly it was because I pulled a card and it had the infinity sign on it. I had gotten a human design reading done. And at this reading, the person kept saying, I see 8s all around you. And every time I flipped the 8s to be an infinity sign, because that's what they represent to me, it kept going back to looking at 8s. And at the time, I didn't really think anything of it. But it's like with anything, when the seed was planted and the information about that experience came through, and I'm going to say it's probably about 2 months ago that this reading had taken place. So the 8s are symbolic. The top part represents the divine. The bottom part represents the human. And the spot where they connect is the nothingness. It's that moment where you are both divine and both human, connecting in this nothingness, in this heart of your soul. And it's actually this beautiful space to be in because it's so unconditional love. It is the growth. It is that moment where you know that you are this amazing being, and yet you're also an amazing human. And it's the spot where they blend together, and then you go down and you pick up your humanness, and then you go back up and you pick up your divine, and then you go back down and you pick up your humanness. And this is the message I received, and I wanted to share it with you. And it's just this ebb and flow. And when you're flowing, you don't even realize it sometimes. It's just this cycle that just keeps going around. You grab your information, your knowledge, you bring it down to your human, you ask the questions up, and you bring down the information. But you can sit in this beautiful stillness of that moment of being connected to your humanness and divine. And it appears to me as darkness, the creation of you. We came through out of nothingness to be the beautiful beings, these beautiful humans. And so it was really a magical experience. It took a few days of frustration, almost aggravation too, because I really had no drive to do anything except for cook. I actually really was spending a lot of time cooking, which is something I really love to do. But I would be doing something, and then it was all of a sudden I had to go into meditation. There was like no choice. The eyes got heavy, the body got heavy, and I had to go into meditation. And you know, I really am so grateful to have the time and space to actually do this at this moment. And part of it is I created it by letting go of not having to get my podcast done, of not having to get videos done. And even though these are things that I want to accomplish and I want to do, I also know in order to accomplish and do these, I do have to take this other time. And sometimes the other time takes precedence over getting the podcast out, or getting a post up, or writing a blog, or creating a piece of art. And so give yourself permission to take that time for your heart and soul to connect, for you to connect to your divine and your humanness in that moment. And the other interesting thing as I go through this process of meditation, and you know, sometimes I will do short meditations and long meditations, and sometimes I will do certain ones in the morning and different ones at night. And that's the beauty of meditation, is this, it's that practice of being, right? And focusing on your breath. So it's doing also a lot of breath work, getting into the meditation and focusing on my breathing and allowing that breath to take me where it wants to go. And sometimes in this stillness, in this darkness, in the quietness, human experiences came through. And so in meditations, we have this feeling where we have to get to where we have no thoughts, which is not 100% true. And then we have to go, if we're thinking about our human experiences, then we're not meditating, which is also not 100% true. So when something comes up is like, what am I going to cook for dinner? Oh, let me do this. I could do this, you know, add tomatoes. Oh, I have this at home. I could do that. Okay, now you're creating dinner. You're not really meditating. But let's say you had an experience with a friend, and you and your friend got into a disagreement over, let's just make it a bagel because we want to keep it light. So you got a disagreement of bagel. Your friend says the best bagels are from this shop, and you say no, the best bagels are from this shop. And then you get into argument why they are the best. Okay? And so then you go into a meditation. And in this meditation, that incident comes through. It comes through you, and all of a sudden you're replaying this whole incident about the bagels and whose is the best. But now, because you're in this space, in this nothingness space, you can actually look at it from all these different angles and gain different perspectives on the situation. So now you can see where your friend is coming from. And now you can see you and your friend grew up with different kinds of bagels. And so she is drawn to her bagel that is like home, and you're drawn to your bagel that is like home to you. It's like childhood because this is what you grew up with. And so you get a different perspective, and by being able to listen while you're in this state of meditation, you also hear what your friend is saying. How this bagel reminds her of when her and her grandfather would go to the store and get the bagels from this shop. And then they would go home and they would toast the bagel. She liked butter, he liked cream cheese, and then they would tell goofy stories about their week. And it was this beautiful memory that she had. And the memory is connected to the type of bagel. And that's why it's the best bagel for her. This is what happens in meditation. It gives you different perspective. It gives you different insight on different things that happen throughout your life. So when those situations come through, they are part of your meditation. Just because it's from your human world, it's part of your meditation. It's coming through you for a reason. And now you're in that space to be able to see. And then sometimes you are given information. Like maybe you've been asking for guidance in a certain area of your life. And maybe you want to bring in more financial abundance into your life. And you want to have guidance on what direction that is for you to go. And you go into meditation and new ideas come to you. New inspirations come to you. That is part of your meditation. Your higher self, the divine, is working through you, giving you this gift of what you've been asking for. And then after the meditation, is up to you to take action on what was given to you. And maybe not all the pieces are there, but it's enough to inspire you, to get you moving, to take action into this new area of your life that's going to bring you more financial abundance and more financial success. And you know what? It might actually be a failure. I know it sounds weird, right? Why would my guides give me something that I actually fail at? And the reason is failure leads to success. So they gave you a piece of the puzzle, and you have to put the puzzle together. The first attempt at putting this puzzle together, you failed, but you learned. You learned that this part didn't work. But if you actually tweaked it and did this, it would make it run better. And so the failure actually gives you the next step for you to go to be successful. Things are never, ever black and white. They are not always straightforward. And you may not see the same thing other people see. But I encourage you all to start building up that trust with your higher self, your intuition, and connecting to that space of nothingness within you, where your divine and humanness are meeting at that point, and start to better understand yourself. Meditation is an important part of your spiritual practice, and your spiritual practice is your life. Everything you do in your life is part of your spiritual practice. So your exercise, your food, healing, working, they're all part of your spiritual practice, because we are on a spiritual journey here on earth. And your practice is going to look different than my practice and different than somebody else's practice. And the way you connect and the way you receive is different. And maybe you're given different information because you're meant to go and look at things from a different perspective and different point of view. And so if somebody says something's red and you say it's green, it's okay. Accept yours for what it is and accept them for where they're at and what their experience is. So spend some time meditating, and it doesn't have to start out very long. You can start out very small, a minute, 2, 3. I like to start small and build up. You always look at it like building muscle. You don't go to the gym and start bench pressing 500 pounds. You have to start small and build up to that 500 pounds. Meditation is the same way. If you are somebody that is constantly in motion, to sit down for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes is actually going to be a challenge for you at first. So start where you are at, whether that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and keep building up and building up. And you don't even have to set a timer. You can set the stopwatch so you know how long you're meditating if you want to. But you don't have to. I've gone into meditations thinking I'm going to do an hour, 20 minutes later I come out. And I've gone in where I thought I was going to do 20 minutes and an hour and a half later I came out. So sometimes I do have to set the alarm when I have certain things that I have to get accomplished so that I don't go over. So I encourage you to do the same if that's the case. But most of the time, I don't. So I just allow it to be what it is. So thank you all for joining me today. I appreciate all your time, and I appreciate you allowing me to be part of your wonderful journey. If you would like to work with me to learn how to tap into your intuition, to learn more how to connect with your higher self, to clear out pathways so that you can easily connect, or if you would just like guidance in certain areas of your life, you can go to intuitivehearthealer.com and book your session or book a call to see which one is right for you. Follow me on Instagram at Intuitive Heart Healer. Join my Intuitive Heart Healer group on Facebook. It's a great group. I'm in there quite a few times during the week, connecting with you all, sending out some guidance and insight to you wonderful people. Till next time, you go out and spread some love in this world. Open the door with a smile. Brighten somebody's day. And if they can't see it because of the mask, they can see it in your eyes and they can feel it in your energy. So don't let the mask stop you from smiling and spreading some love. I'm sending all my love to all of you. Till next time, bye-bye for now.